Everyone, Jacquie Edwards here. Thank you so much for joining me. This is a beautiful sunny day, and I am in the countdown to my wedding. So I have less than a month till when I leave, so I'm super excited. But anyways, today I wanted to talk a little bit about HMOs and rent to rent and the possibility of starting with a property that is already an HMO when you're doing your rent to rent. Now, I know a lot of people really struggle with this concept and thinking, well, why would the property owner, you know, give me his property and how could rent to rent work if he's already doing it as an HMO? And now, again, this is a common question that a lot of people have. And one of my kind of top marketing strategies that I tell people to get their rent to rents is to get the list of licensed HMOs from the council and to send them letters. And again, people are like, but if they're already running it as an HMO, how am I going to make my profit? Because most people think if you're going to do HMOs with rent to rent, you start with a single family home, maybe 3, 4 bedrooms with 1 or 2 reception rooms, and then you convert that into an HMO and rent it out by the room and turn the reception room into a bedroom. And that's where kind of you make your profit, is being able to convert those reception rooms into bedrooms. But what I really like to do, and what pretty much all of my properties were, is they were already HMOs when I got started, and they were already licensed HMOs. So basically, I sent my letters from the list I got from the council, sent the letters, and the owners really liked the idea I had. Now, how does that work? Well, I want to tell you that most landlords out there are not professional landlords. So I know a lot of us are, if we follow a lot of people on Facebook and we're on lots of the property Facebook groups, and we see these beautiful properties that, all of us kind of fellow investors are doing. So somebody will post some pictures of their recent HMO refurb, and you just see gorgeous rooms, all en suite, beautiful colors and feature walls and beautifully decorated. And you think, well, that's what every HMO is like. But really they're not. So we are kind of the few that take the time to really understand the property business and make sure that we're really putting out a quality product. Now, not that a lot of landlords aren't putting out a quality product. Well, there are some that definitely aren't putting out a quality product and really don't care. There's just a lot of landlords that just don't know. So they know maybe property investing is a good thing to do, and they buy a property, but they don't really know what to do with it from there. And maybe they just fell into having an HMO. Maybe a bunch of people moved in, or they got some students in there, and the council came along and said, hey, you need a license, and they were like, all right, let's do this. Or maybe they did get the HMO license on purpose, but they didn't have the systems to manage that property, so they don't know how to do the management properly. They don't know how to do the maintenance. They don't know how to find the right tenants. A lot of my landlords, yes, they already had an HMO. The property was in okay condition, but they didn't know how to find the right tenants. They didn't know how to do the referencing. They didn't know how to, pick the right people. They didn't know how to price their property properly. So they ended up getting kind of subpar tenants that weren't paying the rents that they needed to get or that they could get. Whereas with us as kind of property professionals, this is what our business is. This is kind of what we're getting trained to do. So we know how to make properties look their very best. We know how to find the right tenants that'll pay a premium for a really good quality product. And we know how to put that good quality product together. So that's what's going to set you apart from a lot of those other HMO landlords. Now, great question, Farah, asking how do you find the right tenants? I'll cover that in a quick second, but for lots of these landlords, that's how I'm able to put the deal together, is I'm able to find those ones that they don't quite know what they're doing. So I'm able to really help them out. So I'm able to give them about the same rent they're getting now, maybe just a little bit less. And I'm able to kind of give them that guaranteed rent for 5 years. And I'm able to make it super easy for them. So it's almost a no-brainer. So yes, they don't get as much as they could, but generally they already weren't getting as much as they could because they didn't know how to manage it properly. And the bonuses for me is because it's already got the license, I don't have to worry about licensing. I don't have to worry about the owner's mortgage because they've already got the right mortgage. They've already got the right insurance. They've already got the fire doors, the fire alarms. Everything is already in place, or at least most of it is, or the landlord kind of knows what needs to happen to get there because they've already got that HMO license. So I'm a kind of a step ahead, so I don't have to put the money in for those things. And I can spend my budget on on kind of the decorative side of things. So, painting and making things look really comfortable and welcoming for the tenants. Now, there are a lot of landlords, yes, that are doing beautiful HMOs, and they're not going to be your clients. So, you're going to send out these letters, or you're going to go look at these properties, and some of them are going to be immaculate. They are going to be beautifully maintained, and the landlord is going to take real pride in his property, and he's going to know exactly what he's doing. Those are not going to be your rent-to-rent properties. The owner's not, they're going to have to take a cut in their rent that they're getting if they're going to give it to you, because that's the only way you'll make a profit. They've already maximized their profit. So yes, there are some of those out there, and those aren't going to work for you. And it's okay. Most of the properties, unfortunately, are not going to work for you for rent to rent, because if it was that easy, then everybody would do it and it would just be a no-brainer. But this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is your business. So you have to go out there and find the right clients for you. Now, working with lots of my HMO landlords, thinking of a couple of common ones, they are I've got quite a few that this was their old family home. They've moved out. It ended up having, sharers in it. They had to get that HMO license. Again, they don't really know how to manage it, but they know they want to hold on to this property because they know that property investing is a good thing. A lot of my landlords aren't looking to get monthly cash flow from their property. They're looking to get enough to cover the mortgage, and they're looking for the long-term capital growth. So again, that's what a lot of property investors are doing kind of in the general mainstream. They look at property investing as, buying now and holding it for the long-term capital growth. So there are lots of them. I've even got property owners that they make a loss every month because that's what they think that's normal. And they think, well, it's okay to make a loss every month because in 10 years time, my property is going to be worth, 20, 30, 40 grand more. So in the long term, I will make my money back. So again, a lot of them aren't educated property investors. They're not educated kind of property managers. So they don't think the same way that we do. So that's where you can kind of find the way to make a profit on these properties that while they're already HMOs, they're not operating at their highest potential. And you can kind of bring them up to that highest potential. And how do you find the right tenants? Great question. We'll squeeze that in here at the end. Finding the right tenants is it's a lot about how you present yourself as a company. So I don't present myself as the landlord. I present myself as an agency. My agency has a website. We've got a brand. So that people that are seeing us, we do just advertise on Spare Room. But when they see us on Spare Room, we also tick the box that says references are required. We've got a note at the bottom of all our adverts about how we take a £200 admin fee and we do all the referencing. Now, people that are kind of dodgy, they're going to go with the landlords first that aren't doing referencing, that aren't taking those kind of fees and stuff. So as soon as there's that kind of £200 fee and there's that referencing criteria, that's going to get most of the dodgy people out right away. They're not even going to apply for your property, because if you're kind of dodgy, would you want to go through all the rigmarole of paying £200 that you're not going to get back and having to pass referencing and working with, a company that's got a professional image and that looks like they know what they're doing? Or you just want to go with Joe Landlord, who just doesn't really look like he knows what he's doing. He's not taking an admin fee and he's not doing referencing. So if you are going to be dodgy and, stop paying your rent and do all kinds of crazy things, you'd go with that kind of more uneducated landlord that's just not doing all of those things, versus going with a company that's presenting themselves and taking the time to do that referencing. So that's pretty much the very, very first step, is just having that little bit of a branding and making yourself look more professional and having that admin fee and doing those referencing. The next step is I always meet, not me personally anymore, but we always have somebody from my team meet every tenant, whether it's a Skype viewing or whether we meet in person. So we do have people, we just had one today that reserved one of our rooms from our website without having come to see the property. Now, we won't just say, okay, go ahead and fill out the application form. We'll say, no, we need to meet you and we'll show you around the property, but also we want to kind of do that interview with them so that we can get kind of the feel for, are they the right person that we want in our property? Because we do tell people no, because we want to make sure that our tenants are all happy and that they're the right kind of people that are going to get along together. So it's just little bits like that that are going to help you get the right tenant. A lot of gut feel and just presenting yourself so that the dodgy people know it's easier to go with somebody else than to kind of come to you and try to play their dodgy tricks. So hopefully that's made sense, but definitely if you're looking to do rent to rent with HMOs, get the list of licensed HMOs from your council and send them letters. Now, I know everybody else is doing this as well, or at least you think everybody else is doing it because everybody's talking about it. But a lot of people you'll find aren't actually doing it. They try to get the list and they're like, oh, it's just too hard. And they'll say, I'll do it next week. And then they never get around to it. Or they get it and they send out the first batch of letters. They don't get very many responses and they never send out letters again. Now, if you are really looking to build this as your business and do something in the long term, then you're going to be getting that list. You're going to be sending these letters out every kind of 6 to 8 weeks because it's a timing thing. It's a numbers game. And if you're not sending the letters, that landlord's not going to call you. They're going to call the person that is. And, if there's a couple of you sending letters, well, then maybe they'll call 3 or 4 of you. But if you're not sending a letter, you're not even on the list at all. And like we talked about, not every landlord is a professional landlord. They're not all maximizing their rents. They don't know how. And, they might not even really want to. They might just be looking for the long-term capital gain on this property, not the monthly cash flow. So keep those things in mind as you're going and don't rule out properties that are already HMOs. I've built my business on them and I know a number of other people that have as well. So thank you very much for joining me today. I am going to head off and I will see you again soon.